stick around for a beer. It's an easy commute for anyone that may be headed back to their neighborhoods. You know, it's it's on Broadway. There's dinner galore around the area. They have little soft pretzels and stuff. I mean, this beer fucks. I can't speak highly enough of these little guys. I think you've just kind of swung me from buying Budweiser from Aladdin's Liquor. I may have to kind of, switch gears and throw something else.
Sweet.
Behind that. So I
dig it.
Sorry, I just want to throw that out there. I also like to always plug local businesses. That's kind of my jam.
Yeah, and you can find Baere beers at Joy. You can find them at a bunch of liquor stores around town. I see some of their bombers all the time.
Very, very limited and very they pretty much select where they go.
Right.
And they have to self-distribute. They don't have a sales guy and a truck and a fleet. Like they're like, hey, we got a new special beer, and they walk in there. Hey, you want to buy a case of it? Here you go. You can't do that at King Soopers, right? So that's why those places are really important to stay around.
A couple more questions.
So support your local bartender or your local liquor stores, please, for our listeners out there. Fuck those people at King Soopers and the Molly's. No, that's not true. We actually like the people at Molly's.
Molly's are great.
Yeah, they actually hook us up and our whiskey crew. They're nice, but it's the fuck the Walmarts and your King Soopers. I hate Kroger anyway, so get them.
And Target's.
Target.
Oh, the French Targets. Yeah, I forgot about
they're
those guys. Accent marks.
So, all right. So one more question about like kind of this 2019 scene. Do you think we're going to see the same amount of breweries that opened up this past year, or is it going to slow? Or is it going to be kind of one of those things where if you're not really doing your neighborhood, if you're not reaching your neighborhood, or you're not making a beer that's up to caliber, what's it going to take now?
As far as brewery openings go, I think that's going to slow next year, right? There's some saturation going out there. It's expensive to open a brewery, and it's not given that you're going to be successful, right? This year the state opened, I think I said earlier, between 70 and 80 breweries. If we do that next year, my head will spin. I'll be blown away. But I bet there'll be 30 or 40 new breweries that come. But what it is now, compare it to like the restaurant industry, right? You're going to see some breweries close, and then Bob's Brewery's close, and Fred comes in and puts it in his brewery, and then Fred puts a sign out, right?
I love these names, by the way. I love it. I'm with you on that. Yeah, Bob, Fred, and then there's a Ted. There's a Ted coming down the line.
So you see what's happening with restaurants, right? Some restaurants stick around for 3-4 years. Maybe they go out of business because they weren't good, or maybe they go out of business because the chef wants to go do something else. And you're going to see both of those happen in beer, right? So you'll see some changeover. You'll see some breweries change hands, but the brewery will still be there. It'll just have a different paint job on the inside and a different sign outside. So you'll see that. But craft beer is not going anywhere. I don't care what anyone says. It's still going to be a thing in Colorado. It's still going to be a huge impact. But it is not the guaranteed sort of we're going to make it work like you had 5 years ago in the industry. It is now. You come into beer, you better make good fucking beer. That's number one. If your beer in Colorado is subpar, people are going to know, and they're going to talk about it because there's too much good beer here for you to know
to be
what
shitting
bad.
In the well.
Yes. So that's going to be number one. And then the experience and the atmosphere inside is a whole nother thing, right?
Leon Bridges, shout out to great artwork, great ambiance here, solid music.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty big fan of the Leon Bridges behind me, but at the same time, I'm just trying to pump these folks because I really dig their spot. But at the same time, they don't really need our help. This place is packed, so you should come down here, get a fucking beer.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
And speaking of stuff going on in breweries, every Wednesday down here at Baere, they do the Denver Pickers. They host a bluegrass from 6:30 to 8:30.
Most of our listeners are in the jam band scene, so for those that enjoyed our episodes with Trout Stick and Peehoff, this would be a great opportunity to come down here if you want to taste these beers that we keep harping on and also maybe catch some live tunes.
Yeah, and a bunch of breweries around town do like comedy shows, do all kinds of stuff.
You got to activate. You have to. That's where you'll die.
Yeah.
If you don't activate your tasting room and create an experience with comedy, with music, with whatever, you're going to just get stale and people aren't going to be interested. You got to hustle.
Open mic night with a podcast would be dangerously awesome. Wouldn't you say, Christopher?
There's only so much cornhole you can play at a brewery before that just.
And there's only one badass podcast in Colorado that's worth listening to. So I couldn't agree more. But while we're talking about that, we'll kind of go. Let's go in. We've done a lot for our beer snobs, beer geeks out there, I think is the word. I want to kind of pick your brain. You've been around, obviously, fucking long time in Colorado. So I want to kind of, the landscape has changed, not only for beer, but even for food and traffic, like we've mentioned, So we kind of want to do some segments that we often do with our guests. We want to kind of ask you some of your tops of the town, is what we like to call it. We'll do pairings, and then let's do some, we like to ask folks, where's your favorite date night restaurant? Where's your favorite happy hour? Let's start with happy hour. You stick with the trend. What's the happy hour that you like to hit after work? If you're in, let's say, if you're in the Denver metro area.
Happy hours are hard. Like, I don't pay for much beer, so I don't get like, oh, they got 2 for 1s. I'm gonna go there, right? Like,
well, if you're not going to
our office is in River North. Right, so we have about 13 breweries we can walk to on any given day.
So is it always beer? You don't go to full bars?
It's easy to go to beer. Sometimes I go to bars. It just depends who's rallying, right? Where are we going? What are we doing, right? But River North has so much to go, and to drive to a happy hour if you work is kind of silly in this town because of all the fucking traffic. So Rhino is everything from Finn's Manor to Ratio. Over to Black Shirt Brewing. Oh my God, their pizza. Go to Black Shirt. There's a sneaky good one. The pizza and beer at Black Shirt is fucking great.
And I didn't mean it. I couldn't agree more. We did an episode there. Shout out episode 2, maybe 3. They have a fennel and sausage pizza.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd slap my mom. It's so good. I mean, you know how they say slap your mom?
Yeah.
It's that good. I couldn't agree more. And a hip back patio. Obviously, we're in winter.
Yeah.
But that's where the No Vacancy office is going to go in.
Yeah.
Shout out 2019 No Vacancy.
Yep.
We're going to be neighbors of yours.
All right.
Studio, taps on deck.
Sweet.
Pool table. I don't know. We keep dreaming of stuff. It's going to eventually. You put it out there in the universe. It's going to happen.
I would say most happy hours I do beer because it's not very heavy in alcohol, and I drink for a while, right? My cocktails happen a little bit later on in the evening if I get to cocktails, and I'll usually do that with meals.
What's the go-to cocktail?
Oh, it's always an old-fashioned. Love me a really great old-fashioned. And I don't know. It's usually I get those when I go to a distillery. I was at Family Jones the other night. Holy shit, if you haven't been to Family Jones Distillery yet, they're right over by Root Down.
Yeah.
They have amazing cocktails, and their food is fantastic. So
Didn't they just win an award as well by...
I think best distillery restaurant in the city.
Was that Eater?
Westward.
Westward.
I know Westward gave them some.
Yeah,
They might have gotten some from Eater, too.
I don't know.
They should win some from everybody because they're doing really cool shit.
I think
That's a great
that
place.
might be on my passport thing. So
We're not giving out free plugs to companies. We want to give a shout out to our
Family
friends
Jones.
over there at Feast Local, though, and then at Family Jones. They did just get a nod from the people in the paper print business, as we like to call it.
Yeah.
right,
But
so-
we're friends with them. We're just dicking
Right
around.
on.
So moving on in these Denver kind of hotspots, where's your favorite cheap eat spot? Not cheap as in the food's bad, but just under $10.
Okay.
Where do you get a bomb-ass meal?
Well, I don't consider this is, I love this place for a lot of reasons, and it's not necessarily for the food, though. The Curtis Park Creamery in River North, it's a 50-year-old walk-up Mexican restaurant. And it's counter service. There's no tables inside at all. And it's called the Creamery, so most people don't know it's Mexican food. And they're gotta be the most nicest people ever in there. Love the people. And you can get a bunch of burritos and really good tacos for way under $10, right? It's easy, it's fast. It's the only fast, cheap place in all of Rhino. So I love the Curtis Park Creamery. Yeah, they
That's
have
the first time they've gotten a shout out. That's a great
their
answer.
smothered enchiladas are really great. I don't think anybody really knows about the Curtis Park Creamery unless you live in that neighborhood.
And
For sure.
Or perhaps work in it, like all three of us will.
So that's a cheap place that came to my mind right away.
All right, so we'll go from cheap to, let's say I see you don't have a wedding ring, so you're in our boat. I don't know if you like to shoot fish in a barrel like Tinder and Bumble, but best date night spot that you've been utilizing of late.
Well, I did just go to Family Jones this week on a date, and it worked out very nicely.
Congrats on the sex.
Thank you. I would say that any of the Linger, L5, Ophelia's, those places,
Ophelia's
those are
thumping.
You gotta love what they are doing there from an atmosphere standpoint, from their food selection. They're doing really great stuff there. But I think my favorite in the city is probably Mercantile down at Union Station. Their Spanish octopus that that they make there is so good. Alex Seidel is such a great chef, and that Spanish octopus at Mercantile blows my mind every time. I love it. Love it.
Fucking solid.
I couldn't agree more. We're big fans of Mercantile. Alex is a friend of the program. We were able to obviously shout out Big A. Congratulations on Chook Chicken.
Yeah.
It's Chook or Chuck.
It's chicken.
It's
chicken.
It's fire chicken in South Pearl and Wash Park. But I couldn't agree more. Mercantile, and they also, and this is a sleeper that not a lot of folks know. If you get the opportunity, if you try to sneak away for the office, they have an Italiano sandwich, and if you switch it out from the ciabatta to the baguette, it is literally knock your dick in the dirt. Fantastic. It is. I mean, you brought up Mercantile. I don't like go and suck the dick, but we talk about there all the time. It's fantastic. So
Yeah, their lunch counter there is money.
Yeah,
Like it's
good.
It's really great. So that's a sneaky good.
Yeah.
Lunch at Mercantile at the counter is pretty great.
It's so good. I couldn't agree more. So I think we're gelling here, despite the difference in transplant and native here. There's usually a big gap, but I feel like we're real gelling.
All right.
here.
Yeah, I feel that too. And one last thing about
That's me
Mercantile,
on your
though.
thigh. That's my leg. That's
You
my
got to
hand.
get that. Their ricotta cheese is out of this fucking world. If you've never got their ricotta cheese,
I haven't. Okay.
I'm serious. Like it's pricey, but it's fucking. If you like
It's
queso,
it's made at the farm,
yeah.
the cream
It-
the
Yeah.
farm.
it's next level.
Dig it. Okay, I'll try it.
Shout out to our boy Jimmy. We watched him kind of go through the process down there at Fruition Farms. They that and the Halo's whatever it's called.
Yep.
They're doing their own cheeses down there. They originally had their own goats, and then they realized that only like a part of the goats were like producing milk and cream
Yeah.
or whatever. I don't know what the process is of cheese, but they were like, well, this is a waste of time. We have all these goddamn goats, but only like a third of them are producing like the goat milk for us to make these cheeses. So they had a really nice goat meal. And then they just started outsourcing the goats. So now they still make their own cheeses, but they no longer house the goats. So they're in the chicken business nowadays with Alex.
So one last kind of favorite Denver spot. Where's your favorite brew pub, or what's your favorite brew pub you like to visit?
When you say brew pub, is that you're talking about a brewery that has a restaurant, or are you just talking about like a tap room?
So yeah. So I'm not talking about like if we're at a tap room and a food truck comes up. I'm talking about like they brew their own beer and they serve their own food.
In Denver, I'm really liking what's going on in Breyer Common.
Okay.
They have their beers. They're doing some Belgian beers and some other like just clean American style pales and stuff like that. But their food's really like they're doing some really nice stuff with their food. I took my parents there. Breyer Common. They're
It's over
near
in the
Mile High
Highland
Stadium
area, isn't it?
Yeah, they're like Mile High Stadium, like 23rd and Clay.
Yeah, somewhere
Is
around
right?
that area.
And I had my parents. They took me there for my birthday this year. That's where I wanted to go for my birthday. So I loved Breyer Common a lot.
And
I thought they were
they've got
great.
a sweet upper. I mean, obviously not in use right now, but they do have like a sweet upper deck kind of
a
patio.
warm
Speaking of
afternoon. You
upper
can
deck.
hack it.
I got a turtle head. Sorry. Someone's got to be 12 in sophomore.
Nice.
Sorry. I didn't mean to do that.
So yeah, I like what they're doing over there. I think they're doing some really cool stuff.
Awesome. Well, okay, so that's only one part of the segments. We got two other Colorado-centric, or I guess we'll call them no vacancy-centric segments. This next one's called Rapid Fire. It's like a this or that, where it's going to be impossible to focus. We're going to keep you rattled. I just don't know how you're going to thrive, but good luck.
First thing that comes to mind.
It's very Steve Harvey, final round of Family Feud, but it's multiple choice with two choices.
Deal.
All right, Chris.
Start it off.
You start this party, motherfucker.
Coffee or espresso?
Espresso.
Beer pong or flip cup?
Flip cup.
All right.
Vodka or gin martini?
Gin.
Thick or thin crust? Pizza.
Ben.
Weed or beer?
That's supposed to be weed or liquor.
Oh.
Since he's a beer guy.
Yeah, fuck
Weed
that
or
one up.
liquor?
My bad.
Weed.
Okay, there we go. Cool. Funnel or the shotgun method of chugging beer?
Shotgun.
Mike's Hard Lemonade or Smirnoff Ice?
I would say Mike's Hard Lemonade.
Denver or Boulder beer scene?
Denver.
Mountains or city?
Mountains.
Stout month or July IPAs?
Stout month.
Breakfast or dinner?
Breakfast. Best meal of the day.
That is so bullshit. Okay, so
Best fucking meal of the
I'm
day.
not going to interrupt the game.